The lawyer representing Kiwi Farms and 4chan has provided the demands sent by the UK's Office of Communication, Ofcom, to 4chan, to his clients, and they are insane. They're absolutely bonkers. And what's glorious about this is the lawyer sent these over and made them available for analysis. And the only things that he censored out at all was the personal contact information for his clients, like their address and stuff. Everything else is uncensored for us to go through. And this is despite the fact that Ofcom over in the UK has marked the top of all of these documents as classification confidential. Well, I guess they're not that confidential here in the United States. So I'm going to go through a whole bunch of the things I thought were the most interesting. I mean, there's a lot going on here. The main document is well over 30 pages long, and there's a bunch of supplementary documents and emails and everything else. I'm going to go through the really funny, juicy stuff because there's some crazy bits in here. I also have a statement from the lawyer representing 4chan, which I'm going to read to you at the end. It is hilarious. It does not disappoint. I got to tell you, 4chan picked an attorney with the right attitude to represent 4chan. It seems like a good match. All right, let's go through this in detail here. The first thing that jumped out at me is that the UK Office of Communication has set a hard deadline of November 13th, which is 1 month from today, less than a month from today, for 4chan to pay the initial £20,000 fine. Now, if 4chan fails to pay that fine, quote, Ofcom may seek recovery of those penalties and, quote, in addition, Ofcom may seek business disruption measures. Now, what do they mean by that? Well, it's assumed that what they mean by business disruption measures, as described in Section 9 of our Online Safety and Enforcement Guide, end quote, is that they can block 4chan on all ISPs servicing the United Kingdom, which would effectively take 4chan offline for everyone in the UK, unless you want to use, VPNs and work around it and all those sorts of things. Now, previously, what we'd understood was that 4chan had 60 days. That does not appear to be the case. It appears that they've set a hard date of November 13th. So just a couple of weeks from now. Now, it does not appear to be the case that 4chan is going to be paying this. 4chan and 4chan's lawyers have pretty steadfastly stated that the UK has no power over the United States citizens and businesses. But let's dive into that right now as well. There's a section of the document that says 4chan is subject to the requirements of the Act. So now I'm just going to read a little bit here and I'll read my analysis of it to you. For reasons set out below, we find that 4chan is a provider of a regulated user-to-user service within the meaning of Section 4.2 of the Act, and as such is subject to the duties set out in the Act, including Section 102 and 8. 102 Section 8. So we note 4chan's submission that Ofcom does not have jurisdiction to take enforcement action under the Act on the grounds that American businesses are protected from enforcement of UK legislation by the First Amendment and that Ofcom has no power to enforce UK laws in the United States. We do not accept this point. I'm going to stop right there for a second because that's crazy. So, okay. A key legal stance of 4chan is, and this is paraphrased by Ofcom, this is a direct quote from the Office of Communications, quote, Ofcom has no power to enforce United Kingdom laws in the United States of America, end quote. It's simple, right? Obviously, that's the case. I mean, that's just so obviously the case. The UK can pass whatever laws they want. They can't enforce them inside the United States. Straightforward. The United Kingdom government is taking the official stance that they do not accept that point, which means that according to the United Kingdom Office of Communications, they feel that they have the power to enforce United Kingdom laws and United Kingdom bureaucracy on United States citizens inside of the United States. That's bonkers. It's just patently bonkers. I get what they're going for. The UK Office of Communication wants to show how powerful they are. They want to suggest that they are all reaching across the globe, but they are very, very much not. Now, they can block access of UK citizens and UK ISPs and UK companies inside of the United Kingdom from accessing other websites. The United Kingdom provides that power. Office of Communications, Ofcom, has the power to block 4chan from being accessed within the United Kingdom, but levying fines and penalties against United States citizens and companies, no, they don't have that power. They just don't. They can try to have that power, but they don't have it. One other little tidbit that I found truly fascinating, and there's actually more than that here. I want to read this to you here. This is under a section of the documents entitled "Imposing a Penalty Would Deter 4chan and the Wider Sector from Future Contraventions." Quote, "We consider that imposing a financial penalty in this case would ensure that both 4chan and the wider sector understand how seriously Ofcom takes compliance with these duties." Now that's interesting, right? Because that tells us a motivating factor of why the Ofcom in the UK is doing this. To paraphrase it my way, Ofcom is attempting to make an example out of 4chan, right? This is their first big example. They're going after a foreign entity, a foreign company, a foreign site, a foreign individual, someone outside of the UK, and they're attempting to impose their laws and their will upon them. They're making an example of it. It would seem that the purpose of this is to make others, such as other companies in the USA or Canada or elsewhere, scared into compliance with Ofcom's demands. They are yelling, they're waving their sticks around in the air, they're yelling, they're making sand people noises, and they're trying to scare you off. They're trying to scare off a 4chan, because if 4chan folds, oh, shoot, man, what hopes does anyone else have? Everyone, they better just comply with Ofcom's demands. That seems to be the motivating factor, the key motivating factor as you read through these documents, is that they're trying to make a case. They're trying to make an example of 4chan. They're tying 4chan up to the whipping post and making everyone watch. That's what they're trying to do. Now, 4chan's responses thus far have basically been, meh, you don't have any power over me. Interesting. Ofcom says that 4chan's refusal to provide detailed financial records materially hinders our ability to assess 4chan's financial position for the purpose of determining the appropriate level of financial penalty. Now, for those of you whose eyes glazed over there, what were they just saying? In other words, again, I'm paraphrasing here. The United Kingdom Office of Communications is demanding 4chan's financial records so that Ofcom can know how much they can fine 4chan, right? It's ridiculous. So this is a gangster strategy. This is a mobster strategy. You want to know how much the fine is, huh? How much is it going to cost for us to protect you? Well, how much you got? Right? That's what they're saying. They're saying how much money you got. That's how much money it's going to cost for us to provide some protection services for you, 4chan. You want to be online in the UK? You want to be online in the UK? Oh, how much money you got in your pocket right now? That might seem like a good starting point. I'll be back next week. That's what this is. You can see this clear. This is a shakedown. This is the United Kingdom saying, how much money do you have, United States citizen? Give it to us and we'll allow you to continue operating your website in the UK. Well, not in the UK, but we'll continue allowing people from the UK to see that your website exists and to connect to it. It's crazy. Specifically, they have a whole section on seriousness, harm, and culpability. It's for real. There are pages and pages of seriousness, harm, and culpability in these Ofcom documents. It is inherently a serious matter, them not providing 4chan not providing their bank records to Ofcom. It isn't inherently a serious matter as it materially hinders Ofcom's ability to carry out its functions. You won't tell me all of your details, where you live and how much money's in your bank account? That's serious harm. Are you kidding me? Ridiculous. Okay, there's more. According to Ofcom, 4chan, this is a direct quote, 4chan has shown unwillingness to cooperate with Ofcom throughout the investigation process. Oh, really? You expect, I mean, okay, I'm laughing because obviously 4chan was never going to cooperate willingly with the UK government bureaucracy machine. It's friggin' 4chan. They don't even cooperate with themselves, right? It's like the joke, of a guy who was rebelling against things, and he got so good he started rebelling against himself. That's kind of 4chan, right? 4chan just does crazy 4chan stuff. They're not going to cooperate with Ofcom. They continue. Ofcom also considers 4chan's, quote, lack of cooperation with our investigation as an aggravating factor when determining what we consider to be an appropriate penalty. In other words, Ofcom did not like 4chan's attitude and response, so Ofcom fined them more. That's what they just told us there. Ridiculous. Now, the Lunduke Journal reached out to Preston Byrne, who is the attorney for 4chan and for Kiwi Farms. They have filed a suit and they've served the UK Office of Communication in this matter, which was hilarious. I've covered that previously. I reached out to Preston Byrne, the attorney, to see, hey, would you like to make any sort of statement? And I also made the same offer to the UK Office of Communications. I did not hear back from Ofcom, but I did hear back from the attorney for 4chan. And I'm going to read his statement in full to you now because it made me smile. Quote, this statement is exclusive to the Lunduke Journal. Preston, the attorney, Preston's pet hamster, Mr. Whiskers. This is a statement by an attorney. I love it. Preston's pet hamster, Mr. Whiskers, disapproved of the last batch of Ofcom correspondence that was provided to him, as it was bitter and salty and smelled of failure. This is a real statement from an attorney. This notwithstanding, the fact that it had been created with a white-hot mix of English rage at the sight of Americans exercising their freedom will doubtlessly keep him nice and warm all winter long. He will keep this hamster bedding in reserve in case of emergencies, but it is unlikely to be his first choice for the Christmas season. End quote. My gosh, right? Could 4chan have picked a more appropriate attorney? Like, clearly, the attorney for 4chan and Kiwi Farms understood the assignment. He came out, they're coming out and they're providing a line of defense. Because here's the thing. We need to back up for a second on all this. It doesn't really matter what you think of Kiwi Farms or of 4chan. It really doesn't. It doesn't matter what I think of them. Honestly, I think that people on Kiwi Farms and 4chan use naughty words a little too much. I think that they should use goshes and darns a little bit more than some of the very, very colorful words they use. Looking at you guys, you know what I'm talking about with your naughty language. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what any of us think about 4chan or Kiwi Farms. The reality is those are organizations and websites and individuals in the United States of America. They are being used as an example by a foreign government, in this case, the United Kingdom, who is working to penalize, censor, and materially harm people in the United States, right? That's not cool. That ain't gonna fly. And the reality is, if the UK's Office of Communication can get away with it this time, if they can manage to squeeze out some sort of fines from 4chan, if they can manage to take 4chan and Kiwi Farms offline entirely, if they can make an example of them, if they can, put them up on the hill and flog them and make the whole town watch and scare everyone else into submission, that has direct harm on the rest of us, and not just individuals who may or may not even use 4chan or Kiwi Farms. I don't use it. I don't use either of them. But these people, Ofcom, are attacking Kiwi Farms and attacking 4chan, and the legal response from 4chan is standing in their way from going further, right? At this point, I kind of view 4chan as defending the rest of us against the censorship regime of the United Kingdom. And that's really what's happening here. And the simple, straightforward, easy to understand legal response. I read through the lawsuit that Preston Byrne filed with 4chan and Kiwi Farms. I did a show on it earlier this year. The straightforwardness of it, no, United Kingdom, your laws don't matter here because we're America. Do you remember the war we fought with you to get independence? We're independent now. Your laws don't matter here, right? It's very straightforward. It's easy to grasp. And they're doing a phenomenal job of holding that line. Now, where this goes from here, I don't know. If we take the United Kingdom's Office of Communication at their word, sometime next month, they will probably block access of UK citizens trying to access 4chan. That's probably what will happen, right? Is that going to result in a massive spike in VPN usage among 4chan users in the UK? It seems like pretty probably. Though, I mean, realistically, 4chan users are probably already likely to have VPNs and use them from time to time, so maybe that's not going to make a big difference. But what happens from there? If 4chan doesn't fold, if Kiwi Farms doesn't fold, and they never give an inch, and it doesn't look like they will. I don't know why they would. What I'm hearing out of Preston Byrne, the hamster betting defense is, in my opinion, genius. What I'm hearing is a steadfastness, an almost bemusedness that the UK is attempting to enforce their laws on US citizens. And if they don't get any further, what does Ofcom try next? Do they move to a different type of company, to different types of individuals and websites, and trying to make another example of someone else? We'll have to wait and see. But regardless, we'll be watching this as it goes forward. This is a fascinating case. I'm truly amused, and I'm going to keep watching it. And of course, and this is really important, everybody, whatever you do, don't share out my posts with these details. Don't share out this podcast or this video wherever you're getting it, because Ofcom made it clear that the information we just quoted from them was confidential, all in caps. So definitely make sure you don't tell anyone about the things Ofcom is saying and doing, because it's confidential and you have to keep it quiet. Thank you to the Lunduke Journal subscribers for allowing me to do this sort of coverage. Heaven knows if I was supported by advertisements from IBM and Microsoft and, I don't know, some random British company, I sure couldn't do this sort of reporting. So I really appreciate all of you becoming subscribers to the Lunduke Journal and keeping the Lunduke Journal online. Go to lunduke.com, you can get all the shows and see all the posts and whatnot. All of that stuff is free, but there's also a whole lot of extra perks for subscribers, like MP4 downloads and free ebooks and forum access and all sorts of fun, awesome things. Just to say thank you for keeping the Lunduke Journal reporting all of this important stuff. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes across the vast and glorious intertube, I do declare end broadcast.